This is Across the Streams Media Podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Front Row Negative, the podcast. It is your host, Aaron, and I'm back with another Halloween Brackets episode. If you made it this far in the brackets, you realize that this is the final one. This is the final set of it, and if you picked your brackets like for this part, good luck with your getting your points in. Tonight we're covering the originals, the OGs, and I've brought with me former guests back to help us make this decision on which original is the king of that bracket. Starting off, bringing back from a few, it's been a while. You know him from Cactus Music, if you ever visited that in the Houston area. We got Robert Medlin back. So
hey,
how you doing, Robert?
I'm
all right,
doing
and
good.
joining,
doing good.
That's good to hear. And joining him from Houston Horror, if you've been to Houston Horror Film Fest convention, you've probably seen him walking around Comic Palooza. We got Scott Fontenay back. How you doing, sir?
Hello. Good to be back, brother. Definitely. Been looking forward to it.
Oh yes, this is always fun. We have fun doing these I have fun doing these every year, making people mad, making people upset, and making people have to choose between movies that they don't want to see battle each other. Some like some like to bury a movie. Some like to give it props and help it pass forward. But it's been a definite battle, and since this is the final part of it, not only will we cover the OGs, we'll also hit up the final four and crown our champion tonight.
Nice.
So that's in the cards for this set. So it has been a tough battle, and well, let's start getting to it. So the originals, here are the rules for the originals, because as I list them off, people are going to think of other movies. The originals are the first movie in each set. The standings for it was, when I was making these choices to doing the wheel of randomization, is that there has to be at least 5+ hours of content, a minimum of 5 hours of content per franchise. That can mean 2 movies in a TV series, one movie in a long-lasting TV series, but it has to have that format. But we're only covering the first movie. Not the second one, not the third one, not the fourth one that people don't like to admit is good than the first one. We're covering the very first one. So, with that being said, when you're making your choice, please stick to the first movie and not the second, third, or the other sequels that might be better than the one that you're deciding on. I know that might be hard because there are people who love Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3 more than the first one. But we're going after the first one only tonight. That's one of them.
Okay.
So just kind of keep that in mind. And I know people listening, they're going to throw a fit about how could you choose this one over that one when this one has the better movie or the better franchise. Don't care. One after the first one. That's it.
Okay.
So up first, we have the original not the original Evil Toy movie, but the original movie that made Charles Band famous.
Yes.
Puppet Master. And it's going up against the one that brought us Natasha Henstridge, Species. First movie only. So, Scott, what is your pick?
So, with you bringing up that as far as what we have to look at with our picks, it's kind of changing what I was thinking a little bit. So, I'm going to... So, of course, Puppet Master, near and dear to me. I mean, I have 1/1 figures all over my game room over here. I got Blade on my arm. I mean, it's that's a big one for me, of course.
Yeah.
Species, though, was an excellent movie. A very underrated film, in my opinion. A lot of people don't give it as just doing stuff. But at the same time, when I look at the characters that were introduced between the two movies, as far as the first Puppet Master and Species, I still got to go with Puppet Master on that one, because just the inventiveness of those characters and stuff that have lasted a while. I mean, and just that initial introduction of those characters. Yeah. The first Puppet Master is by far not the best Puppet Master.
It is not.
The puppets move way down too slow, and a lot of it didn't make sense. There's no reason why people wouldn't have been able to just get away or kick the shit out of a puppet and I didn't have to worry about anything after that. But I got to give that one its due as the first one in that franchise. I got to go with Puppet Master on that
Puppet Master.
particular bracket for sure.
Remember, this is the movie that did not have 6-shooter yet.
Yes, yeah.
So I know a lot of people, 6-shooter's their favorite besides Blade.
Well, with me, it's Pinhead. I literally dressed up like Pinhead one year for Halloween, which was an incredible costume that I put together. But yeah, he's always been my all-time favorite since I was a kid.
All right, that's a good choice. All right, Robert, what's your pick?
So, yeah, with this one, I had to kind of decide which one too, because I love Species. I remember when I saw it in the theater, it was opening weekend, and yeah, it was all about Natasha Henstridge and how much you saw of her throughout the movie. And then there's like, the hot tub scene, all the kill scenes that she did, and I remember that. Now, Puppet Master, I didn't see until later on. I think I rented it. I think at Blockbuster, and I saw part 2 first. I saw that on cable.
Okay.
And yeah, 6-shooter was like my favorite character, and I had to go back and watch the first one, and which is kind of strange because I remember like a lot of times like growing up, I would watch them out of sequence. Like I've seen like one of the Friday the 13th and not had seen the original and all that stuff. So, and as much as I enjoyed Puppet Master, I think it's a fun movie, but I think as far as like scary and not scary, but it had like a good atmosphere, and it's like I said, it's very like you said, Scott, it's very underrated. I have to go with Species.
Species.
Yeah,
Ooh.
it's and a lot of people think it's like an Alien ripoff or whatever, but
Far from it.
No, it's not. It's just it looks that way because you see the final character, and Geiger designed that, and I remember I had the Movie Maniacs figure. And
that's true. Yeah, they had they had Syl, and then they had the guy from part 2.
Yeah,
because they released both of those.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Wow.
And I had the figure, and that movie always stuck with me, and I bought the Blu-ray a couple of years ago. But yeah, as much as I love the Puppet Master films, putting it next to the original Puppet Master, I have to go with Species.
Species.
Yeah.
Ooh. I saw Puppet Master probably when I was way too young to see these things. I've been a fan of Puppet Master just because of how, they each got they're like little puppet X-Men. They each have their little abilities.
Yeah.
But and I even have the DVD or the Blu-ray trunk, the Puppet Master trunk that Charles Band sold a few years ago.
Oh yeah.
I have that. Species, on the other hand, I mean, this is H.R. Geiger designs set in a modern time, not in the future like with Aliens. He did that like in modern day time. So you have it like out in East Hollywood of like a HRS Geiger monster killing people in Hollywood or in like the mansions and everything. But so the special effects on Species was amazing. I mean, still really good. I even have one of his art books somewhere. But Puppet Master, again, the individual characters of them, and going after the first movie of Species and going after the first movie of Puppet Master. Oof. It's tough for me too. Not put this damn brackets together. I've got to go. I'm gonna go Species just because. I mean, as I'm balancing it out, I'm like Blade, Natasha Henstridge,
right?
Pinhead, the creature special effects, the kills in Puppet Master, the kills in Species. I gotta go Species on this one.
And I have no problem with that. I mean, I can 100% respect that one. Like I said, Species is an incredibly underrated movie. People don't talk about it enough.
Yeah.
It really
Even
is.
part 2 is good.
Yeah.
In its own way.
Yeah, part 2 felt more. Yeah, part 2 was more like Aliens.
It was,
like,
yes. Yeah.
It was Species was the first one, like Alien, and so similarities, but not really.
Good score too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Real good score. So then up next, this might be a little difficult for some.
That was hard. This was going to be a rough one. Actually, honestly, with the way you want us to kind of like rank them, it's not going to be that hard for me now. It was really when I first saw that bracket, I was like, they should have met like further down the line. This one is like really messing me up right now.
Yeah.
But this one is the first one, the very first Texas Chainsaw Massacre versus the very first Friday the 13th, not Jason, Pamela. So one's a murder mystery, one's a survival horror.
Mhm.
So, Robert, your first pick. Who you got?
So, I love both of these franchises, and in the Friday the 13th films as a whole, they do have a special place in my heart.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, Jason, of course, but the original Friday the 13th, it's a great movie. It's a great horror movie, but for me personally, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it was the first horror movie that I ever that I saw, like that I remember seeing all the way through. I was like, maybe I'd seen stuff on HBO and cable, like the slasher movies, but the one that I rented and watched and really stuck with me was Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And I watched it with a school friend of mine, and we ended up like laughing as much as we were scared. You know, like the hitchhiker character, and you know the whole. One of my favorite scenes is when the hitchhikers, like when the grandpa comes home, and like Leatherface has been on this rampage chasing after Sally,
Mm-hmm.
and he says, "Look what your brother did to the door." I love that. That's great. And to me, all through like movies that I've collected memorabilia on, I've met cast members.
Mm-hmm.
I have a signed poster, and it is Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I've been to the gas station. I went to a couple of movie locations, and
Mm-hmm.
to me, as I said, Friday the 13th, it's an excellent horror film. It's a great setup for what was yet to come. I don't know if they even planned it like that.
Yeah.
But the Harry Manfredini score, and they did a lot of cool things in the movie that would carry on. But man, I can't not pick Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So that's
It's a good choice. It's a
my
good pick.
Yeah.
It's a good pick. Scott, what's your pick?
Okay, so I saw both of these movies when I was 10.
Wow.
There you go.
Yeah, when you talk about too young.
Yeah.
The second half of when I turned 9 is when I started watching horror movies. That summer that I was 9 years old, and when I was 10 years old, that's when I kind of like stepped my game up a little bit. Friday the 13th, well, to me, the thing about it is with the original one, you only see Jason right at the end, but the franchise itself, to me, it's the GOAT of slasher franchises of all time.
Kevin Bacon.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre was absolutely groundbreaking to me when I saw it. And I remember one of the things that like freaked me out the most when I saw it is that I was born August 3rd, 1973.
Oh.
And the opening of the movie, these people died the day after I was born. And it was just kind of freaky seeing that kind of stuff. But just everything with that movie compared to the original Friday the 13th is just, you can't compare the two. From the characters to the kills to the story, you referred to Friday the 13th more like a murder mystery, but it's a slasher with an unknown killer. With Texas Chainsaw Massacre, that was a fucking horror movie.
Yeah,
you knew who was doing the killing and stuff, and it was there was no mystery behind that one. It was just an absolute amazing horror film that, even though the franchise is elevated, I guess you could say. I mean, Leatherface is on a bunch of people's Mount Rushmores of horror and stuff. To me, Texas Chainsaw Massacre doesn't get the credit it deserves compared to Halloween and Friday the 13th, because Texas Chainsaw Massacre is the movie that kind of started that subgenre. So yeah, I got to 100% go Texas Chainsaw Massacre on this one.
Oh wow! So that's. I was going to pick that as well. My first introduction to Texas Chainsaw was the movie Summer School. I watched that late night.
I watched it 2 nights ago. Man, I love that movie.
They're talking about it. I'm like, I need to rent that. I need to go Blockbuster, go to the local video store and rent that. And for
It's a
Friday the
Bay Hoop Air
13th,
classic.
it is a classic. And for Friday the 13th, I had literally watched that 2 weeks before going to go see the original Scream movie. And if you
Okay.
watch Scream, one of the
Okay.
questions is they spoil the first movie of, if you haven't seen Friday the 13th, the first one, they kind of spoil it in the very first 5 minutes of the movie.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm glad I watched this before coming to see Scream. But yeah, Texas Chainsaw, I mean, despite it having a very complicated franchise where you don't know which sequel is the real sequel, which prequel is the real prequel, everything kind of just like goes all over the place. It's still highly regarded as one of the best horror movies.
Yeah.
This one, even the remake with Jessica Biel, is regarded as a really good remake, as one of the better remakes that they have.
It was, yeah, for sure.
So the fact that it seems like the firsts of Texas Chainsaws would be the original or the remake are just good. They know how to do it. It's just that the sequels, they're like, what do we do next? Let's just throw something at the wall, and if it happens, cool.
Right.
My only gripe is that it took about 70% of the movie before you get to a chainsaw.
Yeah.
You get the
Yeah.
hammer kills, you get all the other hook kills, but Texas Chainsaw. And if you're a horror fan living in Texas and you haven't been to the gas station,
Bro, yeah.
go. You have to go. Get a chopped meat sandwich. Enjoy it with all the flies that are outside because they never empty their trash. They never seem to empty the trash under the barracks, and go eat. So yeah, Texas Chainsaw is moving on. So next up, you got the original Critters versus the original Leprechaun with Jennifer Aniston and the bully from Pee Wee Herman's Big Adventure.
Yeah.
So I'll start this one off first.
Okay.
I saw Critters when I was again way too young because I thought it was a sequel to Gremlins, and I was very wrong.
It was marketed like that. They kind of tried to market it as a Gremlins type movie.
They did, but that first jump scare when he's in the the basement of the or the under the house, that scared the hell out of me. I'm like, Gremlins don't do that. They don't do that. But Leprechaun, I watched when I was older. It was fun, and the Leprechaun sequels have, well, for every puppet master, you get a Leprechaun.
Yeah.
So I've got to choose the Critters. So that's going to be my choice because the first one was more horror themed. Didn't have the jokes that the rest of them kind of had, but that scene of like the giant Krite walking in the spaceship at the end was like that was terrifying to me. So I'm going to pick Critters. Scott, what's your pick?
Okay, so between those two movies, Leprechaun franchise I like a lot. My favorite ones are a little bit further down. Vegas was amazing. The Caroline Williams kill in Vegas was absolutely, just phenomenal and stuff. Critters is an awesome movie. I love the bounty hunters. I love everything about it. The bounty hunters kind of did a good job with providing some extra comedy relief to it, just with their interactions with everybody. Billy Zane, his killing it is great. Everything with the house, with Dee's in the house, and she has a shotgun and they come up the stairs. Critters did a real good job with practical effects as far as let's just slide this ball going across the porch and it's going to look like a critter running across. And it looked great. I mean, it was a really, really good movie. They made a really good use of the puppets and stuff.
They did.
For this one, I definitely have to go with Critters. It's definitely the better of the two movies. Did Leprechaun get better after further down the franchise? Yeah, in my opinion, it did. It definitely got a lot better as it went on, and it kind of like was able to spend a little bit more money and do a little bit more, get better casting and stuff. But as far as the initial entry into the franchise, Critters by far was a great, great movie. And I wish they could somehow figure out a way. I know they had that fan film they came out with a few years ago. And some folks kind of got together and put together. I would love to see a revitalization of that franchise because I think they could do some cool stuff with it. But
did you watch the TV series? Did you watch the two TV series?
No.
Or the two mini? What would you? Well, okay. Is it this? They did like 6 episodes, two different seasons of 6 episodes.
Okay.
Like little mini series of Critters.
Okay.
That are out there. They tried something new. I'll say on one of them they tried something new. Don't know how that's possible, but they did it. But But Robert, what's your pick?
You know, us like everybody else, I liked the Leprechaun films as they went on. Leprechaun
Yeah.
in the Hood was just I love that one.
Yes.
Ice-T on my shirt right now, as a matter of
Ice-T,
fact.
And and I've met Warwick Davis and I've seen his panels about how he loves doing the movies
Mm-hmm.
and all that. But yeah, Critters. I rented Critters when I was in maybe like 6th grade. I just saw the commercials in the for the movie, and yeah, I thought it was kind of like a Gremlins. I don't know if it was a ripoff, but it was like another Gremlins type of movie.
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, I
And
thought it was
then
a sequel.
yeah, and then when I rented it, it was like, oh well, it's kind of like Gremlins, but it's like something else entirely. It's like the crazier version of Gremlins.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, the bounty hunters were cool. The creature effects, like even back then, I wanted like a Critters doll or
Yeah.
something because I had all these like Gremlins figures and
Mhm.
stuff. But yeah, I would have to say Critters would be my pick. Yeah,
It's a good pick.
Yeah.
I do have to give a shout out to Ice-T and Leprechaun in the Hood, because what always pops me every time I watch that movie is when he pulls the bat from his fro.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a throwback to the Harlem Globetrotters from Scooby Doo days. You remember that?
is.
And one guy would pull all this stuff
yeah.
out of his afro. Yeah.
It is, but that always pops me because I'm like, I know it's coming, but it's still I still laugh at that scene
Right.
every time when it happens. But yeah, Leprechaun in the Hood 1 and 2 are fun.
Yeah.
I didn't like Origins. Wait, I didn't like Origins,
Mhm.
but the latest one was kind of fun. It was kind of a good
It
throwback.
was a fun little movie, yeah.
Yeah.
It was a fun throwback. But Critters, the first one, I remember just wanting. I went to the Critters doll,
Yeah.
and I remembered a few years ago they brought out like the life-size replicas. I think it was like San Diego or something like that, but they were like $500 or $400 per like doll or per
Mhm.
thing. Like, nah, I love it, but not that much.
I'm one of those guys that used to bother NECA on Twitter of like, because they used to get bombed like, hey, make this, make that. I'm like, okay, Critters has to do it. And they always said, we'd love to, but it's too niche. We don't know if we could sell it, but we'd love
Oh,
to.
it was so
but
like
someday.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
I think so, yeah.
So back in the early 2000s, whenever Movie Maniacs was a thing, I wrote them a hand letter listing Critters as like, for Movie Maniacs, make Critters, make the dragon from Rain of Fire,
Yes.
make the Graboids. I had like
yeah.
a whole list of like things to make through Movie Maniacs, and I got a response back that says, "Hey, we're no longer going to be doing the Movie Maniacs line anymore, but thank you for your suggestions." Like, at least I got a response back.
I remember. Do you remember Sota, that toy line? They did those
Yes.
little
Yeah,
Street Fighter
yeah.
figures.
Yeah.
So I met them at one of the at San Diego one year. They had like all the displays. It was when there were the Tomb Raider, the Angelina Jolie Tomb Raider figures.
Yeah.
They had those, and they announced that they would be doing like a Movie Maniac style, and that they did. They did like some cult figures.
They did, yeah, they did.
They would like talk to people like, well, what do you want us to make? And one of their panels was, and I had like a list. I was like, Tremors, The Thing, which I really wanted, and I said, how about Critters? Because I think NECA was just announcing that they were doing Gremlins. I said, you guys need to do Critters, and they're like, that's something we want to do. And I don't know if they ever looked into it or not, but they seemed like, oh yeah, we would love to do that. So I don't know if they just never happened, but
Just a quick plug for a friend of mine. If you guys are interested in getting a Graboid, I have one of our vendors, Guy McMonster Maker. If you want to look
Okay.
him up on Facebook, he has a
Yeah.
great Graboid that he does. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Is it
He
like
has some really cool stuff that he does. So he's Guy McMonster Maker, and his big thing he does a lot is he does Stitch as different horror movie and pop culture characters.
nice.
I have the Stitch Jason Voorhees at my desk, but he does everything from Venom to Ghostface. He has Stitch
Okay.
as all these different horror characters, and then he
that's
also does
cool.
Graboids and Xenomorphs and all kind of other stuff too. So
I do have a friend that's in our FRN group and everything who is him and his wife are huge Stitch fans. And so I'm going to pass this episode when it goes up to him. It's like, hey, listen for the Critters part. Keep listening because
Yeah.
you'll hear some Stitch news.
Yep, Guy
Tom
McMonster Maker. He does some awesome work, and he's a really really good guy. He takes his boy. He's just started doing shows, cons, and everything about 2 years ago. But he has some amazing stuff.
That's awesome. So yeah, you hear that? Stitch stuff and graboids. Go check it out. All right, so moving along. So the final battle in this first wave, we have the original Nightmare on Elm Street versus Scott. This is your home turf right here.
Yeah,
Well, Hatchet.
yeah, Robert Englund double feature.
It is. Oh yeah,
Oh, that's right.
That's true.
That's right.
The Battle of the Roberts.
Okay, Hatchet is an amazing movie. When that movie came out, I slept on it a little bit too long. When I finally got around to it, Kane did an absolutely magnificent job bringing just
He did.
paying homage to 80s slashers. The movie's so well done. The kills are fucking inventive as hell. I mean, it's an incredible movie. Hatchet is a really, really good movie. Absolutely enjoy it. The franchise has just continued to grow and stuff. Nightmare on Elm Street.
The original.
Yeah. The movie is amazing. To me, the original Nightmare on Elm Street, just the whole story. You can't fall asleep during that movie because you're scared to fall asleep during that movie. It grabs you just pretty much from jump, and it just keeps going, and it makes you want to see just where this movie is going the entire time. I mean, it's Wes Craven did an amazing job with it. You know, I 100% got to go Nightmare on Elm Street on this one. Hatchet is an absolutely phenomenal movie. I love it. It's one of the best slashers to come out in a long, long time. But just Nightmare on Elm Street, that first movie was fucking awesome.
It is. Robert, what's your pick?
Again, I have to agree. I loved Hatchet when it came out. You know, I thought, and I remember I saw like a free movie preview of it, and at the Edwards Theater, and it was kind of a half full, but the audience that was there, they were into it.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I loved, kills were great. Robert Englund, I remember he was in it. He was great, and Kane Hodder is just awesome in it.
Yes.
But man, Nightmare on Elm Street, you know, the Johnny Depp kill, the whole wall, the crawling the wall effects. That one you could call it like, it was kind of a game changer as far as like horror, and that birthed us Freddy Krueger. I have to go with Nightmare on Elm Street because to me, and also it's just that first one. You mean the sequels kind of became, different and more unique, and with a bigger budget, obviously, and they went more towards humor and all that. But as far as like straight up horror, Wes Craven just knew what he was doing with that movie. And
true.
Yeah, I have to go with Nightmare on Elm Street.
I'm going to swoop it on this one. Nightmare on Elm Street over Hatchet. Out of the Hatchet franchise, part one is the one I like the least. I didn't really like it that much. I love 2, 3, and 4, but the first one I just wasn't a fan. Nightmare on Elm Street, the first one, I love parts 1, I love parts 3, and I love Freddy's Dead. Those are my ones. But the original is always just terrifying because this is the Freddy that's serious. He's not a comedian yet.
And it was so unexpected. It was a slasher, but it was so much deeper than what slashers had been for all these years.
It was. And the scene that gets me the most, no matter what, that's terrified me as a kid, was when Heather's like running up the stairs and her feet go through the stair planks. That scared the hell out of me because I'm like, what if that did happen in real life? If I'm running up the stairs, someone's after me, and I'm getting tarred in the into the planks. So that scene terrified me. Nightmare on Elm Street's my pick. It's a sweep, and with that kills off the first round. That's the first round. We have our final 4 now for this bracket set. So let's get on to the next set. We got Species versus the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Now, I'll go first on this one because I already have a feeling of which title's going to go forward. I kind of have that feeling. I'll just start it off. I'm picking Texas Chainsaw Massacre just because of what it is. Just overall movie tone. These are two different beasts. Texas Chainsaw is a classic. That dinner table scene is insanely frightening. So that's my pick. Robert, what's your pick?
Yeah, no disrespect to Species. Like I said, it's I I'm glad it got past the first round, but man, if you're up against Texas Chainsaw, and if you just the dinner scene, just everything about it, it's I'd have to go Texas Chainsaw.
All right. Scott, what was your pick?
We're definitely unanimous. I mean, just Species is great. Texas Chainsaw was groundbreaking.
Yeah,
we hadn't seen a movie like that before.
Very true. Very true.
100% Texas Chainsaw.
That is very true. All right, so next battle, we got the original Critters versus the original Nightmare on Elm Street. Two OGs. So, Scott, what's your pick on this one?
Nightmare on Elm Street. It's just a given.
That was quick.
Compared to those two movies, 100% Nightmare on Elm Street. Critters was a great movie. Mm-hmm. It was trying to ride off of the success of Gremlins.
Yeah.
So it wasn't all that original of a story. It was a good movie. Effects were great, but comparing it to Nightmare on Elm Street, there's just no comparison between those two.
That is very true. All right, Robert, what's your pick?
I concur. Nightmare on Elm Street. Love Critters, funny movie, but yeah, I mean, Nightmare gets it.
That is true. My pick was going to be Critters, just because the more I think about it, the more I'm like, I could really watch that one over and over and over again. Mm-hmm. Nightmare, I have to kind of be in a mood to watch it. Mm-hmm. I just have to be in that mood. Well, with that being said, we're down to our final two. Texas Chainsaw Massacre versus the Nightmare on Elm Street. Two originals. So again, you're comparing the first movies only. Mm-hmm. Texas Chainsaw, the grit, the grindhouse effect of the kills and the setting in Texas, versus some of the special effects that made Nightmare on Elm Street what it is. Crawling on the walls, the makeup effects, the masks, all of that. So two different movies that are both groundbreaking in their genres. So, Scott, what is your pick?
This is a hard one, 100%. But when it comes to actual quality of the movie and direction and story, I've got to. I hate to have to say this, but I got to go Nightmare on Elm Street.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
I definitely have to pick that. I got both of my arm. I did add Robert eventually, but yeah. And the thing about it is, what pisses me off is I'll watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2 over Nightmare on Elm Street any day.
Oh, yeah.
But when it comes to those first two entries into the franchise, really looking at it, taking a step back, Nightmare on Elm Street is 100% the better movie. All
right. Hey, there's no wrong pick here. There's no wrong pick. Yep. But whatever movie doesn't make it, there's going to be backlash. Just like I got last year. Just like I got last year. All right, Robert, what is your pick? Texas Chainsaw Massacre or Nightmare on Elm Street?
I had to think about this. It's again, two classics, great in their own ways, and again, it's Nightmare on Elm Street. Again, the makeup effects, the prosthetics. As to Texas Chainsaw, they just made that thing. It was like a student film. Yeah, they were just these kids that were out in the 100+ degree heat in Texas and, almost died several times over. But I mean, I like I said, as much as I love Nightmare on Elm Street, kind of like you, Aaron, I have to be in a certain mood to watch it. Mm-hmm. But one that I always have fun popping it in and watching it and appreciate it on every level is Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and that's kind of tipped it for me. So my pick is Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Ooh, I got to do the tiebreaker right here.
You get to break the tiebreaker. Yes. And the thing about it is, no matter which way it swings, I will be happy.
Yeah,
I mean, it's tough. It's really tough.
Yeah, it is.
Because like Nightmare, I have to be in a certain mood to watch Texas Chainsaw, because I cannot eat anything before watching Texas Chainsaw because of that dinner scene, due to me researching things that happen behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So knowing how hot it was in that dinner, that family diner or a dinner table area, the rotten food, the smell that people complained about, the buckets of just food waste on the ground, just knowing that mentally, I can't eat before watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So with Nightmare, though, I have to be in a mood because this isn't comedy Freddy. This is serious.
Yeah.
I'm going to kill you, Freddy. So, ooh, and both are really good. They're both really good. I've got to go. Oh, I'm going to go Nightmare.
Okay.
I love Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The gas station
Yeah.
makes good food. If you're not surrounded by flies, but the visuals in Nightmare, and again, I think back to the stair scene. I think back to the burning corpse coming up from the bed, and then Johnny Depp's death. Those are classic kills. Texas Chainsaw, the hook, him putting person on the hook, the hammer shot to the head. I mean, holy crap! Those are brutal kills.
Yeah.
Those
The
are brutal
thrashing.
kills.
Well, you also look at the if you look at the quality of the movie between the two, and you look at the cast of Nightmare on Elm Street versus the cast of, I mean, it's
Right.
it's a good movie, man. I mean, John Saxon was like in his heyday at that time. It was a really young Johnny Depp, and Robert Englund just kind of like that performance in that movie secured himself as a legend.
It really did. And I remember watching a documentary with Gunnar Hansen about how you close or how you slam a door, and how when he slammed the door the first time, it broke the hinges. So they had to go in and rebolt the hinges for that first kill where he like pops it open and kills someone.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, he was playing the part. He was invested into that part.
Yeah.
And so I got to give respect to that. And that's why this one was a little tough for me.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I got to go Nightmare on this one. So Nightmare takes the one spot for the OGs. Now, what y'all don't know is who won the other brackets.
Yeah, which I'm curious about because they got a couple of sleepers in there that would have been my pick to like move forward, but I'm definitely curious to see how that one went.
So we're gonna hit the final four right now, and just kind of give you like a little time to think of it, because some of these I'm like, okay, that battle that's an easy pick for me, but taking our winner, Nightmare on Elm Street, and it's going to go up against the winner from the 2010 section, which ended up being Cabin in the Woods. So Nightmare on Elm Street versus Cabin in the Woods.
Damn.
So Robert, you want to pick first?
So that's surprising. I thought Don't Breathe would be here, but Cabin in the Woods, it was clever. It was inventive. I remember I saw it opening night with some friends, and snuck some beers in the theater. It wasn't the Draft House, and we were just like, we had a lot of fun with it, and it was clever. It was good, but I mean, you put it up against Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah.
It's too. It doesn't, like, you can't. Like, I would just have to go with Nightmare on Elm Street because it is that important of a horror movie, and it's that good of a horror movie. So yeah, it has to be Nightmare for me.
Hey, that's a strong pick. Cabin in the Woods is what a lot of people. That's one of their favorites from like the last 15 years.
Yeah.
People do love Cabin in the Woods, so I can't fault them for that, because it is more of like the meta love letter to each different genre, especially when you get that giant cube of all the creatures and monsters and slashers.
Yeah.
So that was a good pick. Now with that set, the 2010s, I honestly thought Tucker and Dale was going to take it, or Brightburn was going to take it.
I know. Brightburn.
I thought,
that's so fucking underrated, man. People don't talk about that damn movie enough.
They don't.
I was at a toy show and somebody had a custom Brightburn figure, and I wish I would have bought that damn thing because that movie is awesome, dude.
It is.
Brightburn's good.
Brightburn is very good. All right. So Scott, what's your pick?
Okay, so Cabin in the Woods is an incredible movie. And it was such a surprising film. There were so many things in that movie that totally caught me off guard. The fact that the pothead ended up, making it all the way through. That just shocked the hell out of me. And then when you get the board and all these callbacks to all these incredible horror franchises all of a sudden start coming out and attacking people. And
Yeah.
it is such a well done movie. It's just a good movie, lots of good comic relief and everything, some good kills. There's no way it could compare to Nightmare on Elm Street.
Very true. And like on the episode for that I recorded with the people for that one, Cabin in the Woods also had cameos from the video game at the time, Left 4 Dead Part 2.
Yeah.
So you had the boomer and you had the smoker on there.
Yeah.
So that was really cool just to see them kind of branching out to different horror aspects. So what is your pick? Cabin?
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Nightmare on Elm Street. Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
There's no way you can compare to Nightmare on Elm Street. And then I think it's more, and I can understand where people, and I hate to put it this way, but I can understand where like younger horror fans would prefer Cabin in the Woods. It's an exciting movie. It doesn't stop. It has some crazy stuff in it. Yeah. I look at movies a little differently. I'm not necessarily a traditionalist, but I look at deeper stuff. And to me, just Nightmare on Elm Street definitely can't. There's no way Cabin in the Woods can compare to that one.
One of the reasons why people regard Cabin in the Woods as a good film, like they rank it higher more than others, is because Chris Hemsworth is in it.
Yeah.
And because he's in it, just like the original Friday the 13th had Kevin Bacon in it, people see Hemsworth as a reason to see Cabin in the Woods, and they have it in higher regards. It's an overall great movie, don't get me wrong, it's a great movie, but for the younger generation, the younger set of fans, he's the draw to that movie for them.
Have they seen Pirates of the Caribbean by any chance? Because Johnny Depp.
No,
I totally understand what you mean, though. Totally
probably not since Amber Heard, but still. But Cabin in the Woods is a big draw because of Hemsworth. So, I do know. Like the other day, my daughter came up to me and goes, "Dad, Thor was in a horror movie?" I said, "Yes, I do. Have it right here. This is the movie. You can watch it in 2 more years." So. But
and I think he didn't he make that movie before he was cast in Thor, wasn't he?
Yes. Oh yeah.
Yep. He made it way before he was cast. So he was much skinnier, he was much leaner. He looks nothing like the God of Thunder now. So it's a very different Hemsworth. But yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street makes it to the final 2. Let's hit the other 2 brackets, the finals of those. So representing the anthology bracket winner, Creepshow 2.
Okay. I'm okay with that.
Found footage bracket winner, Taking of Deborah Logan.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Taking of Deborah Logan versus Creepshow 2.
Never mind.
So
Uh,
how did Creep not make it to the second round?
So the final 2 for Creepshow for anthology was Creepshow 2 and Trilogy of Terror Part 2.
Okay.
Those were the final 2. For the final 2 for found footage was Taking of Deborah Logan and Deadstream.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Leslie Vernon, I'm surprised. I would have picked that to go all the way.
Well, if you want to see how far Leslie Vernon got, you have to go when that episode's released. You have to go check it out.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would have thought Creep would have made it past Deborah Logan. Just myself.
Wow.
But I love Creep. Creep is such a good movie.
Wow.
Creep is good. So far, both of those have been really good. I'm really curious about Part 3.
I know you and me both.
Really
It's gonna
curious
be
about
good. Okay, so
what's your pick? Creepshow 2?
and Taking a Deborah Logan.
Yeah.
Okay, so I would have to 100% just for the practical effects, the casting, and I guess the stories in the anthology meant more to me than possibly some, because my absolute favorite Stephen King horror book is Skeleton Crew, the short story book that he put out, and The Raft is in Skeleton Crew. So seeing that one kind of come to life on screen, they did a great job with it. I thought the practical effects were amazing in that movie.
Yeah.
The whole hitchhiker scene is just one of my favorite anthology segments. I would 100% have to go with Creepshow 2.
Hey, that's a good pick. Creepshow 2 is a strong movie. Creepshow has a strong first movie, has a strong second movie.
Third movie is
Part
horrible.
was terrible.
No.
Dude, this is no bullshit. As many horror movies as I watch, I just found out there was a part 3 like 2 years ago.
Really?
That's how quickly it fell off of the map when that movie came out. I didn't even know there was a part 3. And Tom Martino was like, "Have you seen part 3?" I was like, "There's a part 3."
Yeah, there's a part 3.
And it's terrible. It's as
So-
bad as Tales from the Hood 2.
No.
There's a Tales from the Hood 3 as well.
I know, which is even worse, but
No, I found out about Creepshow 3. I went to Best Buy when I got out of college, when I got out of class one day. Went to Best Buy on Tuesday, like I do every Tuesday, because that's new release day. And I see it there. I'm like, no, there's a part 3. And it's got like a holofoil cover to it. It's where the letters are like ruby red, you know, holographic red. And the artwork looked really cool. I'm like, oh, okay, this is pretty cool. But I'm not paying $35 for a damn DVD. So I put it back. Then I went back the next week and bought it. But still, I regretted buying it. It is terrible, terrible movie. But yeah, I've had it since then. I always tell people whenever we talk Creepshow, I'm like, there's a part 3. Did you watch it? And when they say yes, I'm like, I am so sorry.
it's terrible.
It's
It
bad.
is absolutely horrible.
It's terrible. So, all right, Robert, what's your pick? Creepshow 2 or The Taking of Deborah Logan?
Well, I know there's Creepshow 3 exists, but I've never seen it, and I've heard all the bad things about it, so I didn't even want to even try. But yeah, Creepshow 2, I saw that when I was living. There's a summer I lived in Australia because my dad was working. He was working there, and this was like when the movie came out. It was actually on July 4th. I remember that specifically. And in Australia, July 4th doesn't mean anything.
Right.
So, but we were kind of like, oh, it's 4th of July, let's go see a movie. And Creepshow 2 was playing at this little theater, and it was packed, and there are a lot of like couples there, and everybody just kind of laughed at the hitchhiker thing. Everyone just kind of like went crazy.
Thanks for the ride, lady.
Yeah, thanks for the ride. And my personal favorite is Chief Woodenhead. I love that. That's and Taking a Deborah Logan, I like it. It wouldn't have been my pick, but I do like it. But putting up against Creepshow 2, I got to go Creepshow 2.
Creepshow 2.
It's
all right.
It's that much fun.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm a sucker for Taking a Deborah Logan, just because of the twist. Because
It was you that moved it up.
no, if you listen to the episode, you'll hear things. But Taking a Deborah Logan, that came out around the same time that M. Night's The Visit came out.
Okay.
And they were there. If you look at them, they're both very similar at the start. But then as you're watching it, they're two different movies. Because with Taking a Deborah Logan, that twist happens in the cave scene. And that cave scene has become a gift that people would use on social media
all the time, yeah,
without ever knowing the movie that it came from.
Yeah.
So that alone is like, okay, that's got a following it. The fact that people are using the GIF just to use it.
It says a lot about the creep factor and everything.
It does. But Creepshow 2, I mean, it's a classic. I mean, yeah, Thanks for the Ride Lady, Chief Woodenhead, The Raft, the wraparound animated film with the Venus flytrap.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just overall just a good, movie. Yeah. So, I mean, I want to pick Taking a Deborah Logan, but Creepshow wins 2-3 vote, and it moves on to the final 2. So our final 2, the battle for the champion, is Nightmare on Elm Street, the original, versus Creepshow 2. And I will start this one off. I'm going to pick Creepshow 2 just because I just love watching this movie. It's one of my favorites. I'll usually double feature the first one and the second one back to back because I love them both. It's all-star cast in the first one, decent cast in the second one. It's just great film. So I'm picking Creepshow 2. What's your pick? Let's go with you, Scott.
Okay. If I had to have a choice between these two movies, which one I want to watch for the night, I would 100% pick Creepshow 2. Creepshow 2 was one of those movies when I was growing up. It was played on heavy rotation. It was always on. I mean, I could quote the movie left and right. I've seen it a million times. And it's not boring. Anytime I watch it, as many times as I've seen it, I can watch it again. If Creepshow 2 is on, I will sit there and watch it. If Nightmare on Elm Street is on, I may get up and go make a snack and then come back and finish it. If that makes any sense.
It does make sense because you're getting comfortable.
Yeah. And I just don't want to stop watching it once it starts. Nightmare on Elm Street is an amazing movie, though. Let me tell you what. We're going to make this fun. I'll make it fun.
Okay.
I'll go ahead and go Nightmare on Elm Street and let Robert
Oh, Robert, you got your tiebreaker.
Great.
And that way, whichever way we go, I will be happy.
So I
will go Nightmare on Elm Street.
You'll get the backlash. People are going to come up to Cactus music and break cassettes in half.
I was about to say, yeah.
They're going to start tagging MP3
You're that guy.
on the door.
How dare you? That it's a tough call because again, like Creepshow 2 is a lot of fun. I haven't seen it lately. I need to rewatch it, but I do remember the running kind of like I don't know if it's a gag, but the gimmick, the soap dish from the original movie. The ashtray. Yeah, it makes a cameo in Creepshow 2.
It makes the cameo from Creepshow 1, Creepshow 2, and the series. So if you watch it on Shudder, it's in every episode.
Okay. I've seen the first season of that. I never went back to it, but I did like it.
It's overall it's pretty good. Overall, it's pretty good.
Man, but Nightmare on Elm Street though. I mean, the way it ends, where like you think Freddy's they think they won, they got rid of him, and you realize, oh, this is a dream. Here we're starting all over again, and that just really that little twist at the end. I'm gonna just say Nightmare on Elm Street.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
As much as Creepshow 2, I love it. It's no shame for second place, but yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street. You have to. I would have to just like give it its flowers and say this is where you deserve to be.
The movie is great. I mean, many scenes stick with you in that movie. It's.
And I love this backstory. Like Wes Craven just read this story.
Yeah, the news article.
The news article about how this like young boy just like he was afraid to go to sleep. He was afraid he was going to die, and then he went to sleep and they found him dead the next morning. Yeah. So, and he got the look. He got the look of Freddy Krueger because I don't know if he was younger or whatever. He peeked outside his window and there was a strange figure with a hat, just like outside his window. I mean, like out in the street or something, just standing there, and that always stuck with him. I had heard that.
That's some creepy stuff right there.
Yeah, so I mean, I have to. Yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street would have to be my pick.
Nightmare on Elm Street had me scared to fall asleep in class. I mean, the whole scene right there. And like I said, with Nightmare on Elm Street, you never knew. It took time to figure out exactly what was going on because you never knew what to expect. It had some really, really good twists and just it was so inventive. It was just a great movie.
It was. I love all the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, except for the remake. And the reason I say this is because the remake had an opportunity to change the twist. They had an opportunity to do something different, and basically they could have made Freddy innocent, to where he was an innocent person who was falsely accused, which set off the chains of events. Mm-hmm. They could have done that, and that would have been like, oh, he was right all along. But they didn't. Right. And I'm like, oh, that's such a missed opportunity. I mean,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Because I would say, like, if you had that's the big reveal is that he was innocent the entire time. The parents are at fault. The parents overreacted. That set off the chain of events. That would have been a better twist. That would have been a better selling point. And that would have made the movie its own thing, like its own new starting point. Yeah. But they didn't do it. And I think that was just a missed opportunity for a new direction with it. Yeah. So that's all I was going to say. Was that.
Okay, yeah. But, my favorite one is part 3, of course, because part 3 is where you get the Freddy Krueger we know now. We get the Freddy Krueger that was in all the rap songs and everything. And
Yeah.
And we did a podcast years ago about the whole franchise.
Mhm.
And what was amazing to me is part 3 was so good. Okay, so you had part 1,
Yeah.
everything blew up. You had part 2, it was good, it wasn't great. You had
Yeah.
part 3, the highest grossing Nightmare on Elm Street was part 4.
Yeah.
And the reason part 4 made so much money is because part 3 was so good.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
true.
Part 3 was the absolute best of the franchise. So when that one came, people realized how good it was, and the franchise had kind of turned around. Everybody went to see part 4.
Yeah.
And that one actually made more money than any other franchise. It's amazing to me.
That's true. I mean, I will say part 2, the opening scene in part 2 was probably one of the best.
Mhm.
With the bus and then
Yeah.
it gets stuck on the like the rock tower.
Mhm.
One of the
I thought
best openings.
I thought you were going to say it was Mark dancing in his bedroom with the.
Oh no, not that. Oh no, not that. No, and not him going to the club either. No, but that intro with the rock tower that swaying
Yeah.
back and forth on the bus.
Yeah.
I mean, that was creepy.
The visual was amazing.
Yeah, the visuals were just great. But yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street overall as a series, it's great. I love it. I'm always wishing that they would release the Freddy's Nightmares on
Yeah.
a set like Blu-ray or something,
Mhm.
Yeah.
instead of hoping to go to a horror convention, hoping that management doesn't see the guy selling bootlegs, and hoping that guy has a copy of Freddy's New Nightmares on a playable DVD-R. So a lot of hopes. But
No,
again, that
would
is our
be cool.
champion. That is our champion, Nightmare on Elm Street. So again, guys, thank you for coming on.
Absolutely.
Thank you for taking this
Thank you.
journey with this bracket and deciding our champion. These are always fun. I love doing these because you
I
never
look
know
forward
what
to it every
expect.
year, man. I love
Yeah.
it. Absolutely. Love it.
You never know what to expect because everybody's got their own opinions. They got their own favorites, and there are times when people have to decide which child do I love more. Do I love this one more? Do I love this one more?
Right.
Yeah.
So it's always fun. But also with
I am wondering how Cat's Eye didn't make it past Trilogy of Terror 2, but that's just me.
you have to listen to the episode.
Interesting. Yeah.
You have to listen to the episode. But also with these brackets, people will start looking at the titles and they'll like, you know what? I haven't seen that in a while. I want to go
Right.
back and watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, always.
And
Yeah.
and people go back and watch. You're like, oh yeah, I love this movie, or I love this part of the movie. And that's where I think people are like, this is why I pick this title over this title,
Mhm.
because they'll have a better fondness over a certain movie versus the other one. And on one of the brackets, I gotta say, that was the reason why Creepshow beat out another title, or Creepshow 2 beat out another title, is because of that.
Okay.
Okay.
So, but go listen to the episodes.
You will.
So with that being said, Scott, plug yourself away. Where can people find you? Tell us some more about Houston Horror Film Fest.
Okay,
all that
so
good
of
stuff.
course, personally, I'm on Instagram at Old School Creole, and you can find me on Facebook, of course, for our events, Houston Horror Events LLC, Houston Horror Film Festival, and Midnight Media Entertainment on all platforms. Our next event we have coming up, of course, is our annual Halloween pop-up market over at Wildcatter and Katy, which is going to be a pretty exciting event. So that event is always our horror pop-up market and metal music festival going on at the same time. Wildcatter is a great venue. It's huge. 2 outdoor stages, very separate from each other. You can have stuff going on at each stage, and they don't bother each other. Our big guest, the one I'm most excited about this year, of course, is Miguel Nunez. I can't wait. We finally got him to come down for an event.
Nice.
So
Damn
Miguel's
enchiladas.
been so
Those damn
much.
enchiladas.
We got Matthew Kader from Scream 6, who was Ghostface. We got Casey Hendershot, who was Michael Myers in Halloween 2007, Rob Zombies.
Nice.
Mhm.
There was a Stuntman, of course, Miguel Nunez. We have Lisa Wilcox coming, which is pretty exciting, from Nightmare on Elm Street 4 and
Nice.
5. And of course, I'm really excited. We finally got Tuesday Night coming down from Nightmare on Elm
nice.
Street Part 4. And
Right.
one of the guests I'm most excited about, he's rep now with Midnight Media Entertainment, is Ron Fazio, who was Toxie in Part 2 and Part 3.
Oh,
So
nice.
he's going to be coming down. The headliner for music is going to be Industrial Metal at Crossbreed. And we have a lot of Chasing Yesterday is a local metal band that is absolutely amazing. I really like Chasing Yesterday.
Nice.
Requiem Rust out of San Antonio, if I'm not mistaken. And then we got Deep Six is going to be coming down. So
Nice.
may have a couple more surprises coming up between now and then. But so we'll have that one. Of course, we're going to do our Christmas event that we do every year and then take a break for a couple of months. Try to recoup. And we've announced the dates for the Houston Horror Film Festival for next year. It's going to be the weekend of August 8th. So same venue. We're back at the Marriott West Chase again for one more year. We've already got, I think I was talking to Tony last week, and we've already got about 50% of the guest list contracted right now. So
nice.
We're kind of like letting Frightmare do their thing right now because he's Lloyd's about to start guest announcements for Frightmare.
They're gonna start doing the tickets and guesting and stuff.
We'll start doing our guest announcements in several weeks now. So
great.
Yeah,
great.
Exciting times as always, man. It never stops.
All right, Robert, tell us, where can they find you on socials?
My Instagram is RobNerdTX. I'm also heavily on the Cactus Music Instagram page. That's Cactus_music. All kinds of music, soundtracks, metal, rock, all the cool stuff, new and used stuff. Just come on in, and we sell Super 7 Funko music figures and cool stuff. So come in, say hi. Also, this weekend we will be at the Bedrock City Con. We're gonna have a booth set up there. So come say hi and fight me on the choices. If you want to talk Texas Chainsaw or soundtracks, whatever, I'm always at the store. So that's where I'm gonna be. So
awesome. Yeah. Are there any cool events coming in for Cactus? Because I always see events popping up like record releases.
So we've been putting up listening parties, which is kind of cool because we've been getting like hear the album before you can buy it, and we have pizza, we have refreshments, alcohol and non. Sabrina Carpenter, who I didn't like right before she became a big thing, we had a listening thing for her. Like 100 people showed up. And that was a big deal. So tomorrow, October 1st, we're going to have Coldplay and Aphex Twins new records. We're going to play those for a listening party. Just follow on our social medias for all kind of announcements, in-store performances, and I kind of throw some proposals in on what we should do for events, and so kind of cool metal-friendly events, hopefully, and we're always announcing stuff. So tune in there. And follow me and my dogs and my concert adventures. So.
Well, there you have it. So, all right, if you made it this far, thank you for listening. Give us a like, a subscribe. We are on YouTube. We are on Instagram. We have merch, TeePublic, Redbubble. Just search Front Row Negative. We are part of the Cross the Streams Media universe with Dwayne as the podfather with all the other shows. So you'll find something that you'll like there. Food, reviews, movies, nerdy stuff, all that other cool things too. So give them a check out. And until then, thanks for joining in. And remember, always unfollow, never unfriend. Until next time. Chris, if you're still listening, fuck ponchos. So later, guys.
Later.
Thanks for listening. If you like what you heard, check out crossthestreamsmedia.com to hear more episodes of this podcast and the other shows on the Cross the Streams network. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you download your favorite shows. Visit crossthestreamsmedia.com for more information. See you next time.
This has been a Cross the Streams Media Podcast.